Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I am Betina Bethlem from Born Witchy. Tuning in for our monthly tarot reading. Just putting the deck back together because I'm coming out of back-to-back readings today. This month we have two, which is fun. It's kind of like having a blue moon. I think we started talking about the solstice a little bit last time we met. That's coming up next week, longest day of the year. I kind of think of it as the second, our second New Year's of the year, where we can sort of pause and take review and think about how far we've come this year and where we want to go in the remaining half. Nice moment to sort of reset on our intentions and all of that. It's also the longest day of the year. It's solar, which means it's shining light on everything. We can be very clear and very honest with ourselves on the solstice. And that's what the tarot always invites, is for us to take a really clear look in the mirror. If we're honest with ourselves, if we're honest about what's going on in our lives, we have way more agency and control over next steps rather than being an ostrich and sticking our head in the sand and not looking at things clearly. That's really what this practice is about. It's about being clear with ourselves, having a through line to the wisdom of our higher self, to our intuition, and tapping into what we really already know. I've been talking a lot lately about how in any situation, sometimes we consult the cards because we want an answer. But I do think that we always do really know the answer to things. We're just sometimes scared of what we know. We're scared of what we have to let go of in order to take action on what we really know. We're scared of what we have to step into. And I have this theory lately that part of the reason there are scary cards in the tarot is because the tarot helps us look at the things that are holding us back because of our fears. So I see it also as a really great practice for us to kind of walk through the fire of our fears and up level to bigger and better chapters of our lives that we are co-creating. So for those of you who might be new to me, the way this is going to go is that I will guide you through a very brief meditation to bring you in to the present moment. I will then prompt you to connect with what your question is today, or what area of life you want to receive some higher self intuitive guidance on. And once we've each established that question or intention within ourselves, I will finally then ask you to decide whether card number 1, 2, or 3, sometimes I do 4, has the loudest message for you. And we will go through those 3 or 4 cards together. The one that you picked before I pulled them is sort of the main message for you, but we can also take them all together as a little story to have a collective reading for the group as well. And you can always communicate with me through the chat, so please feel free. Okay, so let's take a moment now to meditate together a little bit. So get comfortable wherever you are sitting or standing or lying down. Just find yourself in a relaxed position and start to take some deep breaths in and out through your nose. Maybe close your eyes if that feels nice. And with each inhale and exhale, long exhale, feel your body start to relax into the surface that it is touching, that it is supported by. With every long exhale, just kind of setting the intention to release any rumination, any worry, any thinking, and just call your mind and your body and your spirit and yourself into this present moment. Anchoring yourself into the breath and knowing that the present moment is the most potent thing that we have at any time to anchor into and to create our reality from. The tarot is not about telling your future. It is about helping you to create your future through the ways that you interact with what is alive in your present moment. And as you breathe and come into relaxation and presence with yourself, tune into the fact that we are coming towards this solstice moment in a few days. You can think of it as a moment of clarity, a moment of illumination, a moment of contemplation to set the stage for the second half of this year of the fire horse, which in itself has this very solar fire element energy of creation and turning chapters and all of these things. And maybe you have a question or an intention inspired by this midpoint milestone that comes forward for you now. Or maybe there is something that is just present and alive in your life at the moment that you would like to have some deeper reflection and insight on. So allow yourself to land on a question, an intention. You don't have to worry about articulating it perfectly. It's kind of better not to force. Like sometimes it's just a feeling of something that you want to know more about. The beautiful thing about tarot too is that it's only a quarter intellectual. There is an element of intellect with the tarot. Excuse me. There is an element of intellect with the tarot in terms of like these cards have meanings, and we do use our mind to read them, but there's also the other four elements, the other three elements of your somatic knowing, your emotional knowing, your spiritual knowing. So we can interact with them in that way too. We don't always have to articulate our questions into a sentence. We can also just kind of feel them and know what it is we want to know. And now ask yourself whether card number 1, 2, 3, or 4 has the main message for you today. Again, not forcing, just letting the first number that kind of jumps out at you to be the one. And I'm going to flip over 4 cards for us here. Okay. We have 4 minor arcana today. If you picked card number 1, you're working with the 7 of Wands, element of fire. If you picked card number 2, element of water, reversed Page of Cups. Card number 3, more water, reversed 4 of Cups. So our waters are in reversed today. It'll be interesting to see what that's about. Nothing to worry about. Reversals aren't bad. They just shift the energies. And if you got card number 4, also in reverse, we have the 10 of Pentacles, earth element. It's notable to me that it's all minor arcana. Tarot has, 2 main frameworks, the major arcana, which are the big mysteries, the larger mysteries, the major secrets of life, and the minor arcana, small mysteries, small secrets, minor secrets. Major arcana is these bigger archetypal things that we're moving through. I've been pulling a lot of major arcana for people lately because I think the energy is pretty big right now. But the minor arcana, which is what we're going to be talking about today, since that's what the cards are bringing up, are more about everyday life and the ordinary moments. And I kind of love them because that's what most of life is just a series of ordinary moments that are actually as ordinary and boring as they may seem sometimes. Like that's the fabric of our lives, and it's where we actually can instill change is by the little micro adjustments we make in our day-to-day. So even though we have this big solar moment of the solstice that feels kind of like momentous and more sort of big mystery, major arcana coded, the cards want us to really take a look at what that means for how we're showing up moment to moment, each present moment. So if you caught card number 1 as your main message today, it's the 7 of Wands, which is also a card that it's been a stalker card lately. I've been pulling it in a lot of readings for clients lately. It just keeps coming up. I did a big group reading a couple nights ago too, where this was one of the cards. And sometimes cards just are having their moment. And we are in a 7 of Wands moment for sure. This I think of as the card of knowing what you stand for and sticking up for it, knowing what you believe in, kind of knowing what your mission, vision, and values are, and really walking the talk of what that mission, vision, values that you name for yourself are. I think of it also as the card of protest. The 7 of Wands has been an energy that's felt very alive and present for me over the past few years, just because of the things that are happening in the world. And there is a lot of protest happening right now. And there is a lot of kind of almost like a 5 of Wands, battling of values happening, where we're trying to figure out what we stand for as a collective, as a humanity. But of course, it all starts on the individual level. So if you pulled card number 1, then your intuition is bringing forward for you that this is a moment for you to really reflect on what you stand for, on what you value, and if your actions, since Wands rules your aligned actions in the world, are in alignment with these values that you claim. And are there any shifts with this solstice that need to be made for you to live even more kind of in integrity with whatever those values might be? Sometimes with the 7 of Wands as well, there is an invitation to kind of stick up for something a little bit harder. Maybe you're sticking up for yourself. Maybe you're sticking up for someone that you know. Or maybe it's just the way you move through the world, or the way you do something at work or in a relationship, sticking up for the change you want to see in the world, or that thing, that value that matters to you. It could often mean setting some kind of boundary. I think with the 7s, there is 7s and 5s. We don't have any 5s here today, but 7 and 5s do have a little bit more of a dissonant, tricky energy sometimes. And that's just a part of life. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. This is kind of saying when you maybe have to use your voice a bit more, set your boundary a little louder, and have the uncomfortable conversation a little bit, more than you have been. So yeah, if you picked card number 1, really do think about what you value and how you can be in integrity with that even more. Feel free to send questions in the chat. If you chose card number 2, then you are working with this very sweet card, which is the Page of Cups. Honestly, this has also been a bit of a stalker card recently. It's interesting that this theme, this energy of the inner child and of our innocence, is a topic that's coming up for conversation a lot lately. The Page of Cups is a very innocent energy. I do often think that when this card appears, there's some sort of inner child message coming through, or some sort of inner child work, some sort of soul retrieval, inner child thing, where you're kind of going back into the archives of your past and having a conversation with that childlike you, and asking them what they need, and reparenting yourself in some way. The fact that it's in reverse makes it sound to me that there's something to be said internally there. Your inner child has a message for you. If you are feeling sort of a lack of inspiration, a lack of pleasure and fun, even just a lack of alignment or a lack of purpose in some area of your life, then this card says the answer is within you, in your past, in your archives, in your Akasha, in your memories. There is a version of you that is wise, and often it is the wise child that we silence and need to listen to more carefully. So if you're working with card number 2 energy in particular today, I do invite you to sit with that younger version of yourself in whatever way you can, whether it's through a meditation, or whether it's from journaling, whether it's talking to family members and kind of reminiscing about that time of life and remembering what you loved when you were younger. I think there's some wisdom there to be had for you in going into that more nostalgic place of wisdom. If you picked card number 3, you are also working with water element. So water cups, it's our emotions, it's relationships, all of that. 4 of Cups is one where I think the reversal allows the energy of this card to flow in a healthier way. Because when the 4 of Cups is right side up, it can be a little bit of a tricky energy in the sense that water likes to flow. 4 is a container. It's like still water in a way. And still water, so water in a vessel is great if you're wanting to have some flowers in your house for a week, but you're going to have to change that water every couple of days to keep the flowers fresh and healthy. Like, you pour a cup of tea, you're going to have to drink that tea before it gets cold. You don't want to let water sit still for too long because it will go stagnant. So the 4 of Cups, when it's right side up, indicates some form of stagnancy, sleeping at the wheel, doing things on automatic. What else? Like boredom, even. So it coming up reversed tells me that there is some boredom, some stagnancy that is being released in this moment. It's almost like, yes, you're having the tea ceremony and you're drinking the tea while it's still fresh. You're maybe getting ready to do something this summer, like the second half of the year, this solstice, maybe you're ready to like let go of a sort of old neural pathway stagnant habit that you're kind of realizing now, yeah, actually that really wasn't serving me. I was just sort of doing that on automatic. So yeah, when the 4 of Cups is result, it's like you're I don't even know if this is a word. It's like you're unautomating something. Like you are taking something off of cruise control and you're taking your agency back, because the 4 of Cups, when it starts to move, is all about harnessing a new opportunity, like walking a different route to work, like bringing a new, health routine into your life. Like it brings that fresh water, that fresh nourishment, and it's emotionally really, really good for you. So if you're working with this 3rd card here, I think this solstice is here to help dislodge something, help shake something loose, help you release some old attachment, some old habit, something that like has just kind of had its day, pouring out that water so that you can create space to fill that cup with something new. And then last but not least, if you are working with card number 4, another reversal. We'll talk more in a moment about why so many reversals and what that means. But if you are working in particular with the energy of card number 4, 10 of Pentacles, card of legacy, card of generations and family. It's interesting. We've talking about that inner child earlier with the 2nd card with that Page of Cups. Like there is a little bit of a theme here of like thinking about where we come from and our past and like what has been passed down, because this 10 of Pentacles reversed does seem a little bit like a reviewing of like, if the 2nd card was about reviewing like your individual experience, inner child, this one feels more like reviewing the family, the lineage, the genealogy a little bit, and considering like what is upside down there and what from my genealogy, from the culture of my family, from the way that I was raised, is something that actually really is upside down for me and not something I'm going to continue in the future legacy of my lineage and all of that. Because the 10 of Pentacles is all about being really proud of yourself and being proud of what you leave behind and setting up your descendants for success. And whether or not you have children, you have descendants. The descendants are the people that come after us, that inherit this earth, that like carry on the baton of everything we have worked on, and we want to set them up for success. It's part of being a good, community member, whether it doesn't matter who is in your like family, or if there's like a blood descendant that we're talking about. It's like the descendants of just like this family of earth, of just other humans. So I'll give you an example. Like, let's say you're a teacher or something. Like part of how you'd be working with this energy is in what you're passing down to your students. If you don't work and you are a homemaker of some kind, it's the energy that you're bringing into your home, that you're bringing to your friendships, that you're bringing to whatever it is you do. Like this is also an energetic thing of like, we are very, very responsible for keeping our side of the street clean, because we live in an energetic world, and like our energy impacts everything. It's part of why practices like yoga are so responsible and so great, because they really raise our energy up. And then when we walk out of that yoga class and into the world and go and do our grocery shopping or whatever, like the frequency that we're sharing with like the person that we get our meat from, like the person that checks us out, like the person who takes our cart at the end, it's like you are just like creating a sphere of influence by like having that sort of higher vibe energy everywhere that you're going. So that's just to like broaden how we can think about this idea of legacy, that it can also be seen really as like an energetic thing, and just remembering that like everything we do impacts everything. It's kind of like that butterfly effect thing. So like, how can we be in integrity and really proud of ourselves so that we are influencing the ecosystem in a way that aligns with our values, coming back to that first card that came up. So yeah, so it's interesting. If you pulled this card number 3, I think this reversal is saying like, this is something that you're thinking about right now. Maybe some of you are reviewing the legacy that you're leaving behind in some way. Maybe some of you are thinking about like how, like, how you want to show up as a family member, or like traditions of your family, or maybe you're thinking about your career and like whether it's really aligned with you and all of that. This reverse 10 of Pentacles indicates that that's where your question marks are, and that's what to kind of sit with on this solstice, and maybe set some intentions of like, okay, where do I want to see myself in terms of what I'm doing legacy wise and in terms of my work in the world, by New Year's at the end of the year, and like what steps do I need to take to kind of feel like this energy is turning right side up and like feeling like it's flowing really well. So yeah, so those are our 4 cards for today. The fact that we had 3 reversals together, in these sort of denser elements of earth and water, with just this sort of values-driven, purpose-driven, like boundary-setting wands card right side up, tells me that in general, the vibe right now, as we move towards the solstice, is we're doing some internal work with these denser elements of like, how am I somatically, how am I emotionally, like what's going on in my physical life that I might want to kind of tweak and make sure it's in integrity with my values and get everything nice and cleaned up, so that we can move forward in the next half of this year, take the sort of grounding of this like internal process of like checking in with like our internal world, and our physical world a bit, so that we can move forward in inspiration for the second half of this year into our creations, and to really using the rest of the fire horse energy that we have for the next 6 months to sort of use that fire element of creation and aligned action to make some tangible differences between now and the end of the year, on a personal level, on a community level, like on a wider level, if the goals are bigger than that. I think that's really what is being brought forward to review right now, and what this solstice brings us an opportunity around. So yeah, feel free to, oh my gosh, yes, Elena, internal work. It's so real. It starts with us, really. It's the only thing we have some control over is ourselves. But like, there's a lot of power in that, because if we work with our frequency and we change our frequency and we make it our priority to like have our most beautiful, happy, aligned life, then like that has a huge halo effect. So it's like your duty, to like really take care of you. Like, it's like you're born and you're given this human, and it's just your job to take care of it. So yeah, it all starts within. And if you have any, I always say this, if you have any follow-up questions, or you're interested in learning about the tarot, or if you want to have like a tailored one-on-one reading, find me out there, Born Witchy, Betina Bethlem. I'm on all the channels. Instagram is a great place to find me. I'm on YouTube as well, and I'm always down to DM and answer questions about tarot and also give one-on-one readings. And I love to share this. So thank you so much for being here. And if anyone wants to chime in for these last 5 minutes with what card they chose or, any follow-up questions about what it means, let me know. And otherwise, I will be back in July for more collective readings. And in the meantime, there's readings almost every day on my other channels. And I love sharing this work and really helping you guys tap into the intuitive ability that you were born with. The tarot is a great system to get into that. All right. Since I don't have any questions and we have a couple more minutes, I will just pull one last card for the road. Why not? Little mic drop to end this on. So we'll ask the cards, what's the final message for this group as we close the chapter on this first half of the year and make the most of this solar solstice energy? Two of Pentacles. This is a card of change. With the Two of Pentacles, we are creating space. I always think of Marie Kondo with this card because I think it's just such a great illustration of like how energy and currency actually works. Like it's similar in a way to what we were talking about with that Four of Cups. Like in the same way that water likes to flow, energy is always moving too. And so with this Two of Pentacles, we're often creating room for something new as well. So overarching message for all of us with this solstice is, I think, I take it as, like dream really big for the second half of this year. We are the best creators of our lives and we might as well dream big for it. And if we can like really direct our thoughts, this is something I've been sharing lately too, is your thoughts influence how you feel and your emotions, which then influence the actions that you take, which then influence what shows up in your life, and what you create and what becomes real and what your reality is. So it starts with the mind. So maybe with this, it's a little bit like, are there ways I'm thinking about myself or ways I'm talking about myself or ways I'm talking about myself that I would never talk to my best friend that way, that I need to change so that I can bring new things in by shifting that habit and talking to myself in a kinder way, for example. Or it's like, have I been dreaming about getting a new partner, a new job or something like this, but I have something energetically that I kind of know is holding that space in my life out of fear or safety or something. And is it something where I need to create a bit more room? The Two of Pentacles often does mean like we're getting ready to make a change. You can almost think of it as like a mini version of the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is a major arcana card. It's like a much bigger energy that brings very like divinely timed and feeling of fated change in your life. And the Two of Pentacles is sort of like the more daily, like cycling out of things and cycling in of things as well. My other thought with this too is that like call in a surprise, like a positive surprise with this solstice and just see what comes up. Just set the intention that like life is going to surprise you with something that like brings a lot of joy to your life, a lot of abundance to your life, and just see what happens. We're powerful creators at the end of the day. So we might as well start to do our spell work, All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Elena shared the survey in the chat. Would love to hear your feedback. Always open to knowing like what you love most about these sessions and what you want to hear more of. And have a wonderful week, everyone. Bye for now.